you know, it was both staff that kind of put it in my ear first. He said, dude, we should do it for fun. Don't worry about anything else, just fun. And I was like, all right, Paul, all right. And I went and saw the movie Get Thrashed, and it made me feel like I did when I was a kid, and just the way I felt about the world and music, and it was fresh, it was new, because it was all clips of us as kids and all the bands I loved. And I was like, fuck, man, I could go have fun playing those songs again. So that moment there made me call everybody up, pick up the phone, dial everybody, say, let's talk, let's sit down and have a conversation. And we did, and it was like really exciting. It was Russ, Matt, myself, and Paul, and we were talking about getting Tim Calvert, but Tim wasn't, he's our old guitar player. He was getting ready to be a pilot for United. He had no free time, no nothing. It's like, all right, well, we go to Glenn, you know, and then at the end of the meeting, Paul goes, oh, and by the way, Testament just asked me to do their new record. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, I can do both. I'm like, no, you can't. Because I know those guys, and they're not going to let you do both. You know, we'd be waiting for Paul, like, now. We would have never played, you know. But we hadn't played with Paul since 1991, to be fair. Yeah. So it wasn't like we weren't used to it. It was like, oh, bummer, you know. So then we had our whole thing. But that was really the moment you could pinpoint it where, you know, at least everyone was organized up to the point of getting together and saying, let's do this. And then we booked shows in Europe. We booked our home shows. It was just a reunion. There was no talk of doing a record out of me. The other guys were like, yeah. You know, I'm like, I wasn't ready yet. Paul was, when he got in the band, it became serious. And when we started writing songs together, especially the way Paul and I wrote together, it was like he has ownership in that. You know, the shit off of, some of the songs off Forbidden Evil, but the shit off Twisted Into Form was, probably has more Paul Bostaff, like arrangement ideas and help and you know, the things that he gets really, you know, credit for. And you know what, I believe Paul helped in Slayer. I believe he helped in Testament. I believe he helped in Exodus. But not all those bands are going to give him credit on the album for helping. Like a lot of metal bands kind of skip what the drummer has to say because they didn't come up with a riff. It's like, dude, you know, yeah, sure, I'm writing the riffs, but if I'm sitting in a room and a drummer is there helping arrange, like Mark Hernandez or Steve Jacobs before him, these guys are important. So Paul felt he had ownership in Forbidden, and he did. He was a very important part as far as I'm concerned. Always. And will always be, you know.
All right.
You know, and in the mid-2000s, I think there was a lot more of a closed-minded kind of attitude towards shit that right now, like as of about 2008, like people are just kind of like, if it's good, it's good. You know what I mean? So it was like, I saw that. I saw the turn happen. And but the fans were extremely dedicated, and it was inspiring for all of us to kind of see the spark as soon as we said we were going to come back and do some shows. It was like, you know, they were on fire for that. And we did our first few shows, and it was great. But there was no commitment to write a record or anything. It was just shows. So it was a little different about mindset as we went along and it progressed.